afternoon, friends. Getting through these guitars thick and fast before I go back to Royal Mail next week. And today we've got something rather nice on the bench, and this is, for what you pay, this is quite an outstanding guitar. I'm going to lift it up and show you what it is. It's a Harley Benton TE-70 Deluxe Telecaster. Paisley pattern on the body. You're not going to believe how much these are when I tell you how much they are. These are £144. They're actually up there on the website for 119 quid. You know, £24. Is it £24? What's your VAT? 20% in it? Yeah, you know, 24 quid. VAT on top of that. What's that? 119? 143 quid. Come on now. Thick body, weighs a ton. The neck. It's a baseball bat neck. The standard. Now it's glossed. It's not a one-piece neck either. It's two-piece, and you'd expect it to be two different colours, but they're not. It's quite well matched. It's not bad at all. I've looked at some reviews of this guitar online, and they're saying how outstandingly good it is. Seems to be a bone nut in there. Okay, it's not. There's a bit of a gap between the nut and the edge of the guitar neck there. But yeah, oh, and the standout factor here, standout thing, your Wilkinson bridge with brass compensated saddles. I've just gone and bought one of these bridges for my Classic Vibe Squire Classic Vibe Telecaster. It cost me £18.36 delivered. But that comes as stock on this. Just amazing. Now, been looking at some reviews, so I know what the pickups measure. The neck pickup measures 6.5 on the Richter scale. The bridge pickup measures 6.87. You've got small pots in there, standard three-way selector type, but this is coming, this is going to be upgraded, and it's going to be upgraded quite big. Now, we're not changing the tuners, nothing's been said about the tuners. Pretty standard, seem pretty alright. I've played this guitar, plugged it in, sounds pretty good. The neck is fantastic, but we are upgrading this, and we are going to give it a, going to go with a four-way switch. That's a proper Oak Grigsby Fender type switch. Going four-way. Going to put a nice orange drop capacitor in there. We're upgrading the pots. We're going to go with a. Do we need a push? We don't need a push. We're going to go with some CTS pots. I've got all manner of CTS pots here. I'll find something in there I want. Definitely. These are all new old stock. So I've got some good CTS vintage pots there. Pickups wise, we are going with iron gears, bridge and neck, steel twin. Great thing about these is the bridge pickup is stacked. Is the neck pickup stacked? Coils 1 and 2, bridge 16, neck, you know. Oh right, they're both stacked. So we are going to use a push in there. The push is going to split. It's not going to split the coil, it's going to tap the coil. So we've got coil tapping. Now, on full whack, the bridge pickup will be pumping out 16k ohms. And the neck, 11k ohms. But when they are, hang on a minute. Coils 1 and 2, yeah, oh, right, got you, yeah. But you'll be tapping them, so bring that to about half. So, DC resistance, coils 1 and 2, bridge 16, neck, it looks like 11k ohms. So we're going to be tapping this, so we'll probably drop to about half. So you get standard telly with your push out, but in it will be full whack. So these are very high output pickups. I'm interested to hear what this steel twin sounds like myself, because I might get one for mine, I don't know yet. But I've got a proper custom pickup going in my Telecaster. I've ordered a Smitty fat neck pickup. I think they're about 190 quid a set. I managed to pick the bridge pickup up for £25 off a guy on Facebook. So and it is coil tappable. So, but that's another story for another day. So let's look at this guitar and see what it says online about it. So it's a deluxe series. It's a basswood body with a maple neck, amaranth fretboard, neck profile C, fret radius 350, that is 14 inch fret radius on a Telecaster. Dot inlays, 21 medium jumbo frets, 648mm scale length, nut width 43, 2 Roswell Onuka 5 single coils. It says single coils. Why does one say there's on book? I've got wrong stuff on there. It says it's got a 5-way toggle switch. It's a 3-way toggle. Is it? Oh, hang on. Yeah, it's a 3-way toggle. What are they on about? We've got wrong gubbins on here. We've got gubbins on for a different guitar. I think we've got gubbins on for a Strat. Let's go and look at the tom and see what it says here. That's the one. Right, okay. Yeah, 3-way toggle switch, that's right. 2 Roswell on Eco 5 vintage TE style single coils. 1 volume control, 1 tone, 3-way toggle, deluxe chrome hardware, Wilkinson bridge and brass saddles and string through body. Strings, Diodario 1046s, absolutely fantastic. Deluxe series, basswood, neck, maple, bolt. Neck is just maple, what it was. Fretboard maple, there you go. Fretboard radius 350, so 14 inch. That's the one. Colour, graphic, fretboard, pickup singles, fretboard maple, tremolo none, body basswood, top none. Neck maple, frets 21, 64, blah 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 blah. So yeah, great looking thing. There it is, look. 119 quid. Plus VAT, we gave them 143, plus shipping, 151. 151 quid, you can have one of these. Absolutely fantastic. So, I'm going to stick the iron gears in. I already know that this needs a fret level. This is having the full whack. We're going to get the nut off, strings off. We're going to check the frets. I've already checked them with Fret Rocker, checked them with the client here. We know it needs a fret level, so it is going to have a fret level. We're going to oik everything out while the bridge. We're going to take the pickups out. Control plate's going to come off. We're using the same control plate. We're going to put a 4-way switch in there. We're going to put some upgraded pots in there. I will also be putting a treble bleed on the bridge pickup, which means when we roll off the volume, we're not going to lose treble. It's going to stay there. I bought these as kits. Just one resistor and one. There you go. That's your little kit. A resistor and a capacitor. Just wire those two together. And yeah, fantastic. Really simple. So I'm going to have a little plug in, have a little play, remind myself what it's like. I'm going to get strings off. I'm going to bring you back in when I check the frets. We're going to gut the guitar and we're going to go to work. How's that for you? Very impressed with this. Okay, friends, cracking on with this job. Now, I removed the strings. And when I remove the strings, these little grommets at the back fell out there. These things, I've already put 2 back in, and what I'm doing is taping them. What I'm going to do is going to wrap 1 layer of tape just around the bit where the point starts, where the tapered edge starts, and that should just give me enough. Just 1 full wrap with a 6mm tape here. So I'm going to rip about yay much off. I'm just going to come a bit closer. I'm just going to wrap it right near, not right at the top where the hole is, just enough to wrap it on that, you know, where it tapers in. And that way I can just scrunch it in, and when I push it in like that, it's not going to push the tape right up the guitar, right up the ferrule there. So just got too much on that one. If I've got too much on there, it won't go in. Just nip a bit off, bring it back to 1 full circumference there, nip a bit off, try again, and there you go, that's it, and it will push in nicely. So I just need to use a little bit less tape. And again, you see there at the top where they tapered, just going to put it inside this side of that taper, just so it doesn't scrunch up when I shove it in there. Just like so, and that'll hold it in place, and it won't, there you go, that'll hold it in place and it won't impede the hole where the string goes there. So again, that one's a bit tight, but that'll not be coming out, I'll tell you that. So small little little jobs here, little small hurdles. Once that's done, that's too much on that one as well. Don't be going more than 1 full circle on the tape, and I've been doing. So let's just nip that back a bit, like so. They'll not pop out again, they won't. Last one. I've removed the neck. I've removed the nut from the neck. So I can go full fret level anytime. And there you go. That's them shoved back in. They will not be falling out again. Tell you that. Fantastic. They're in, that's done. Got to oink all the electrics out. Bridge has got to come off because I'm going to remove the pickups. With new pickups in there. Going to get this set up ready for fret leveling in a minute. I'll be bolting this to a piece of 30mm MDF. We're leveling them frets, nice chunky frets on this. Nut removed, came out clean. Nut is there, ready to go back in. Go back in with the same nut. It's a piece of bone. No, it's not a piece of bone, it's a piece of plastic. Oh well. Still decent, stick that back in there. And the job is a good one. So I'm going to crack on. I'll come back and give you some updates shortly. Okay, slight change of plan. Not really a change of plan, it's just something I didn't think of, and I should have done really. We're going to have to route this cavity here because it's not deep enough. It's not deep enough for the four-way switch, and it's certainly not deep enough for the push capacitor. So there's your four-way switch. I've bent all the lugs flat, or as flat as I can. I don't really want them bent flat. I do want them sticking up a bit, and it's slightly springing back. So this, I had the same when I did my American telly a couple of years ago. So that's not a problem. We'll just reroute the hole. You see there? It's just lifting off. So we're going to take another 3mm out of the cavity. Now I've measured the depth of the cavity. We are drilled down to, I did measure it. What have I done with that measurement? Anyway, also looking at the pot, nowhere near deep enough. We need to go another 4 or 5mm for this pull push pot. So we are going to drill down to, or route down to, I think I did about 40mm on my American strap. I'm just going to measure this again. Right, I think we are down to about 30. In the deepest one, we are down to 30 something. I'll tell you what, is there a second? We're down to 34. I'm going to go down to 39, so I'm going to take another 5mm out of this cavity. The body is, did I measure it at 42? If it's 42, I don't want to go to 38. I don't want to go any more than 38. So we are, yeah, we're 42. 42mm wide body. So I want to go down to 38mm, no more than that. Leaves us 4mm at the base. So I'll just measure this again. Measure the depth right there. And we are 34. So I'm going to go to 38. So I've got 4mm, another 4mm. I'm going to get this all clamped up using a block at the side on this far side. I'll just get that lifted up to that height so we can use the router easily on a nice plain surface. I'm going to use it on this table, this bench, and I'm going to use the actual hole that's already there as the template guide because my bits do have a roller on them at the top end. So we're going to be absolutely fine for cutting down to that depth. I'm just going to take my time with it. I'm not going to force to bit anything out. I'm just going to take it all off with the router. So it's going to make a bit of a mess. It's going to get a bit dusty in here, but not a difficult job. Will be a little bit more labour on that, and then we're going to go with, like I say, go with a pull push. I don't have a push push, but pull push is fine with the nil knobs we've got on these. So we're going with that there. We've got, that is a logarithmic for the tone. We do have a CTS linear volume pot there. It doesn't fit the hole yet. I've still got to drill this hole out here, which I'm going to do in a minute. I might as well turn the soldering iron off. I'm not going to need that. So a few things to do on this. That's that end of things. Regarding the other end of things, leveling my frets, I'm already strapped up to my piece of MDF, which this is a surrogate body. So we've got that. We can basically get this all strapped up later and we can level these frets. I can just move that one out of the way for now, so it's not in the way. I'm going to use this bench for the routing. I'll not be filming the routing. It's going to be dusty, it's going to be noisy. Don't be faffing about with cameras while I'm working with heavy tools, because routing, when you're routing, you need to be on the ball. You don't want to be making any mistakes with a router in your hand. So I'm going to crack on, get this done. Another thing, this is supposed to be insulated. It's got insulated paint on there, but it stops here, and it stops here, and it stops here. There's nothing, there's no insulation on this. So there's been no, nothing done about any possible hum or anything. But you know, that's the way it is. Just trying to look and see what wood that is. I'm not sure what wood it is, but it's real wood. So anyway, I'm going to crack on. Back in a bit. My router out, in this case my Trend T4, which I bought a couple of years ago. I've only used it around about half a dozen times. Great piece of kit. If you want to know what router bits I use router bits from I believe it's from Weldon Tool Company, based in England somewhere. These are recommended to me. I only buy from them. They are expensive, but it's the only company I buy from. They work. And I've just checked everything, and everything fits. Routers, frightening tool sometimes. You know, if you've not heard one before, and I've not used it for a while, and I thought, wow, that sounds really quite violent. But let's just unclamp everything. Notice the way I clamp this. I had the guitar padded underneath, and a blocker one on the side, so I could use the router over this area as well, all the same height. And I got everything padded up and blocked. I didn't want to slip, obviously I didn't want to slip with the router. Last thing you want to do with the router. And very, very careful. Once you get inside there, keep it smooth and keep it going. And don't, you know, be steady with it. Nice and steady, because they are a frightening tool sometimes, until you're used to them, I suppose. Very, very messy. Very liable. But there you go. That is done. And there is the work I've done. Nice and deep. It should be 39 deep. I'm just going to, I don't have a rule somewhere. What have I done with it? Got no idea. Don't tell me about a 2-foot rule out just to measure that. Yeah. At least this starts at the end. So let's have a look at the depth, because the body's only 30. It's 42 wide, and we have gone down to 38. I'm happy with that. 38, I believe, is. Let's just check the depth of the pot. Well, the pot's 32. Oh, this is fantastic. And the 4-way is 35. 35 here. So we've got 3mm clearance everywhere. I'm going to be painting this in a minute. I want to make sure that that is exactly what it's meant to be. Now, I need to remove some of this tape just to see where the screw hole is. I don't really want to remove all the tape because I'm going to be painting this with conductive shielding paint in a minute. There you go. Just need to get that off there. Just need that out there and that out there, just to see where the plate fits. But yeah, very happy with how that's gone. That's fantastic news. That just sits. There's no left and right movement at all on that. It just sits there, perfect, and that's it. I'm going to have to take the other bit off down here, because I need to know that this fits right. There you go. Didn't route anything near the top, just the bottom half of the hole. It's lovely and smooth at the bottom. As long as these line up, this one doesn't quite line up, so I may have to go a little bit thinner there. That's a bit of a bitch. I'm going to turn that switch around and see if it goes the other way, because I think these lugs are just pressing on this side, but then again they're going to press on the other side. No, they're not. That's not quite central. Bear with me. Got to turn the 4-way round. It doesn't matter which way you put it in as long as it fits. Bear with me a second, guys. Got a client on the way, he wanted me to do some more work on his guitar. I says, there's no chance, mate, your guitar's done, I'm not getting it out to do it again. Real poxy job, I've not been paid for it. I've done 2 hours work, I'd have charged him for an hour. They're not very nice. Really cheap Chinese acoustic that needed a fret level, he didn't want to pay for a fret level. So I've just hammered them back in. Okay. So I'm going to flip that 180. And put it back in and hope it fits this way. Good switches, these are Oak Grigsby 4-way. The stuff Fender uses. Doesn't matter which way you put them in as long as they fit the cavity. I don't want to be widening that cavity because it means working near the paint, and once you start working near paint with a router you're going to start chipping. So this fits, or we make it fit as it is without doing any more routing. So, it's a little prayer for me, guys. That lines up. Again, it doesn't fit that way. I've no choice but to reroute that hole, or put this in a little bit skew width. How incredible. Oh, I know why it doesn't fit. It's this pot here. Let's snap that lug off that pot. My goodness, silly me. So I didn't need to move that at all. It's this lug on this pot here. I'm going to bend that lug out of the way. I'm going to blow my trousers. Let's have a look there. Well, there you go, guys. That fits perfect. It was that lug on the pot. How's that for you? How daft are we there? Anyway, we fit in there. That's fantastic. Put a little bit of tape here to hold the knob, the top hat knob on, because it was too loose. Too loose Recrowning, whatever his name is. There you go. So yeah, slightly scratched up the plate here, tightening the nuts on there. That's just tough to make do with it. But that is it. It's all good. So I can remove all the. I'm going to get tidied up. We'll remove all the tape from here. We're going to paint inside this cavity with some shielding paint, and we're going to leave that. We're going to give a few coats of that. So this one is going to be one of these jobs we're going to do over the next couple of days. I'm going to get tidied up, get all my gubbins away, clean up round here. We'll come back and we'll start my electrics, I think. Welcome back, friends. I'm in my shorts today. End of March, I'm in my shorts. Anyway, update on this guitar. I've just painted cavities with the shielding paint. Stuff I use here. I don't know where I got it from. Where did I get it from? Charles Guitars. Anyway, guitar conductive shielding paint. Good stuff this. To get it right good shape. I turn it upside down and turn it right way up. 24 hours like that. 24 hours like that. Then back, just so it keeps mixed and the metal flakes keep a good mix in the paint. But there you go. They're all done. Did these freehand because they're going to be covered anyway. Done that all tape round there. That's all done. Also done the jack there as well. I'm waiting for the new shielding plate to arrive. I paid express delivery £6 on Thursday, not here yet. I hoped it might get here Saturday, but it didn't include Saturday delivery. It just said, you know, working days. So I paid £4 extra just to get it here today. It'd have been here today anyway. But anyway, moving on. Got the pickup in the bridge, the Wilkinson, not Wilkinson one, the iron gear one, on the Wilkinson plate there. All ready to be wired in. I've got my wiring diagrams. I've got my 4-way switch. Swapping the pots around. I've got a CTS pot 500k there and a 500k pull push pot all ready to wire up. Just need to get the right capacitor soldered on there. I got a nice big fat orange drop on there, just about solder it in for, hang on, it's not going to fit in the cavity. Can't go with a big fat orange drop. I'm going to have to go with something a bit smaller unless I wire it vintage style. So let's have a look at the diagram. I could do it vintage style from a middle lug to whatever. I'll sort out a way. Otherwise, I'll just go with a standard mylar capacitor or something. I'll get it sorted out. But anyway, so waiting for that plate to arrive. So I think I'm going to move on to leveling the frets. I'm going to crack on with that now. Oh, one other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line, because I've shielded this all off. I've painted over a little bit, so I'm going to put this plate will be fine, conductive anyway. But the pick guard I'm going to line with copper tape, shielding tape. And so everything will have a Faraday cage built around all the pickups here, just create or reduce some of the hum and what have you there. So yeah, so I'm going to crack on. Moving on to the neck. Now there is one thing I do not like about this neck, and that is, even with quite a lot of adjustment on the truss rod, I cannot get it perfectly straight, or I could not get it dead straight. It's got back bow in it, and I've turned the truss rod a fair bit, and we've got most of it out, and we can get it straight, but it's a lot of turns. Let me just show you where we are. Right, that's loose. Right, there you go, we're just nipping. That's just starting to get tight now. Now to get the neck straight, I'm going, where are we? Let's see where we start to get tight. We're there. So give it one full half turn. That's one half turn. And it's not straight. There's still back bow with that. That should be straight now. That is almost one full turn. I can't hardly go anymore. And it's still just off straight. I mean, it's straight down here till you get to this fall away at this part. That's probably as straight as I can get it with a truss rod. It's straight enough, but I'm going to have to put this on my neck jig to force this end up just a little bit, just so I can get it straight enough to level the frets. I would have expected this to be straight with the truss rod loose and not to have to tighten it that much. So that's a little bit of a bind. It does happen. Doesn't mean there's anything particularly wrong with it. It just means you need more adjustment than normal to straighten it. A little bit annoying, but like I say, it just means I've got to put this on my jig now, and we're going to force this end, we're going to strap this bit down and force this end up a bit and get the steel bars underneath to support it. That way I can level the frets. When all said and done, the string tension is going to pull this up anyway, and it is going to straighten the neck. It's just not ideal with me having to use the truss rod adjuster to get it straight with that amount of turn in the adjuster. So one negative there. Just setting the neck jig up, and I very rarely film this, so let's just show how we're getting set up. Got everything supported on a block, this end, and we are clamped this end and clamped this end using big F clamps. So we're central, we're sturdy, we're solid. One thing we've not checked is how level we are, and I'm not worried about that because I always level the platform, and this will be the platform. And once you've got the platform level both ways, don't matter how wobbly the room is, if we're on a hill it goes down, like this room actually does. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a spirit level, and we're just going to be checking everything. So need to go down on that side for starters. Let's just check again, because I just want it level to work on. Check that weight. So we still need to go down on that corner. These are feet, by the way, they move, so we can always get these level where we need them. I've got a little bit thinner in the middle today, so let's just check there. Not worried about what anything else is doing. So I'm doing it wrong anyway, but that's okay. We'll just bring this one right down now. Just getting level across this front, because I'm going to be working on a level, aren't I? Okay, now again, plenty of room. I'm going to be just about there with this. Okay, we've got the bubble more or less in the middle. Certainly level enough to work. Just need to go down a little bit more, get another turn. How's that for you? Let's see where we are there. We are level. Now let's check this way. Okay. Just check over here. That's pretty much level. We need to go just down a bit on this back, or up a bit on this corner. So That should be right. Good enough. Level. And level. So we're level everywhere. Now I'm just going to check, but pressing down everywhere is quite tight. And it is. And it is. And I'm happy with that. And it doesn't matter if it looks skew with from where you are. It's about how this is level here. And this is now level. So on that firm foundation, I can now set the neck. And this is a surrogate body, piece of 30mm MDF. And I could go lower. Don't particularly need to, but that's how we're going to set up. We're going to bring these up under the neck, so we just need to make sure we're lined up centrally. Looks pretty good to me. Quite happy with that. Right, not an important test. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to strap the surrogate body to the jig. Really easy. Good thing about it not being a real body is I don't have to pad everything up and put padding on there so as we don't mortar the body, because we're not going to mortar the body because it's not a body. So there you go. So we're going to take the straps underneath. It's why I put the jig on stilts, and we're going to strap the body in. These are straps you use on a truck, wagon, for cargo. Very good, industrial. These are really good ones. That's tight enough. Make sure we're still central. We can always knock this one side or another. Like so. Next one. Much quicker doing it this way than having it on the body and having to strap the body in. And there you go, we're strapped in. So now all we need to do is make sure we're lined up this way. I mean, we don't have to be perfectly central, but that is right along the skunk stripe. Happy with that. And what we're going to do is, with the truss rod loose, I'm going to level the neck. That truss rod is loose. We're not going to use the truss rod. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, because that's now strapped in, straighten the neck from here with the truss rod loose. This is probably going to fall over. I'm just going to bring it up to as high as I want it. Hold it in place and whack these straight under. So these are going to be supporting the neck in now a straight position. We don't need to rely on the truss rod or anything. We have that neck straight, and now I can work on the frets. So let's just see where we are. Still got a little back bow in it. So I need to bring it up again. Totally not normal with this, you need to go. Let me check again. Might have gone too far with that. Can be a bit heavy-handed sometimes. Yes, we've got relief in that now. Oh, that's good, that's good, that's good. So let me just... Again. Right, now we have a straight neck. That's brilliant. It means I can work on the frets. So we're just going to bring these back underneath, fully supporting underneath. Good good thing about this is if I'm a little bit high at that end, which I'm still a little bit high at the headstock end, a tiny bit, but I've done that on purpose. I need to reinforce that there because it's not quite right. So all I'm going to do now is just let this down another notch. Check again. And there you go. Relief has gone. We've still got a tiny bit of background on that one again, so I need to bring it up just that little bit more. We now have a perfectly straight neck. We've not touched the truss rod. That is fantastic. That neck is now dead straight. We do have a little bit of fall away at the end, but that's fine. So we've got everything straight, using a little bit of force. We're bending it back out of its natural position. I can now just bring the truss rod up to where it needs to be, there. And hopefully that will hold that position. Not that it matters anyway, because that's where I'm leveling. So we've got that neck, just check one more time. Yep, fantastic. That neck is now dead straight. I'll bring the camera around in a minute and show you from this angle, from this way, so you can see for yourself. But now we can work on the frets. Not very often I have to put anything on the jig, but in this case I did because the neck would not go straight. I could have adjusted it a little bit more with truss rod. I didn't want to go any tighter than 1 full turn because you shouldn't have to. So forcing it too straight is going to be absolutely fine. We can now level the frets. Once that's done, we're good to go. Move the camera, and I know the neck looks really skew with and looks like it's bent up. It isn't. We've had to bend it that way from horizontal to get the neck to go straight. That's because it had back bow in it naturally, and by turning the truss rod I could get most of it out, but I didn't want to turn the truss rod anymore. I certainly don't like going 1 full turn on the truss rod to try and get the neck straight. So anyway, not straight edge, should be 25.5 inch scale. This is exactly what it says on the tin. It's a straight edge with notches in it. The notches go over the frets, and there you go. That is dead straight. We do have a little bit of relief here, can't help that. We're dead straight all along here, and we've got a bit of fall away at this end, so that's fine. I'm going to create a bit more fall away going this way anyway, so that's going to level everything out. But now you've seen it level, I can go across with a fret rocker. The thing is, if I go across with a fret rocker now, I'm going to be right in your way. But so I've already done it on your behalf, and I've marked up the frets that are high, so I'm going to go across the high frets and listen. This side. 1 high fret, 2, 3. Really awkward me doing it this way, but 4. This one's high all over the place, this one. 5, 6, 6 there, 7. 8, 9, 10. 10 high frets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 high frets. So I'm going to scoot across the lot with a levelling beam, which I'm going to get out in a second. Let's go in a special box. I have 2 in here. One from Crimson Guitars, my big heavy duty one, which is the one I'm going to be using. And I have a lightweight one from GMI. I buy my levelling tools from. That's a GMI one, smaller. Don't expect it to be that small. It's got emery board on there, 320 grit and 200 grit or something like that. This one has got, this is Crimson Guitars one. These edges are precision straight. I've 240 grit on the bottom, 400 grit on top. Emery board again, really good. Using a 240 to remove the main that I want to remove, and once that's all done and once I've got them level, we'll use a 400 grit to smooth everything off. Just a matter of, in a straight line, following the radius, and keep going until the frets are level. And that's basically what I'm going to do. I've already removed the tops of some of the frets. I'm going to move the camera back to where it was. You'll get a better angle, and then we can crack on and get these level proper. I've written down what frets need working on. It makes no odds anyway, I'm levelling a lot. So again, same job from a different angle. I just want to remind you that when we do the radius this side, we always follow it down in a straight line, so we overlap at this end. If we followed it, we only follow it according to the strings or inside when we're doing a compound radius. So when we're doing a regular radius, we've got to keep that radius along the length in a straight line. So again, leveling all the frets. Like I say, I've not got any written down. I'm just going to level the whole lot till all of them are level. It won't take too long. And to know that we're level, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go across with a fret rocker every few strokes until we are level. It might seem painstaking. It's not painstaking at all. It's a great job. I actually love leveling frets. This is the first high one we had. It's now level. Doesn't take long to level frets. It's the recrowning and polishing. It's the polishing that takes the time. But if we couldn't get this neck straight, we wouldn't be able to level the frets. That one's still high there, so I'm going to come across this one again in a moment. Don't normally get them all done in the first run anyway. Still high. Still high on the far side, that one. Still high at this end. A lot more frets this end, you see. Takes more work than that end because they're more spaced out down there. So I'm going to concentrate more at this end in a moment. That's well high. I'm actually going to bring the file out in a minute. Get these level. Because these are still high at this end. That's not so bad. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still got really high spots. Not really high, but high. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring out the old trusty Chris Allsop levelling file. It's a diamond file. It's precision straight. Beautiful tool this. And I'm going to take the main height off with this. And check in once I've used the file. Now this, the reason I don't use this all the way down is it really scratches the frets. It needs more polishing later, but it will remove material really quickly. That one's done. Check these. Done. Still high. Still high on the edge, good everywhere else. Onto this one. Like I say, this file really removes material. Still high on that edge. That's good. What was the other one? I can't remember, there's one down here, wasn't it? Still a little bit high there. We are now level. So just to make sure, I'm going to mark them all up in pen again. I'm rushing a little bit because I'm expecting a delivery any time now, imminent, between 11:36 and 12:36. What time are we at now? 11:39, so it could be any time. And the camera is right next to the front door. So I'm going to get his marked up. I'm waiting for DHL. His marked up. It's a permanent marker, so it ain't going to rub off unless I file it off. There you go. So now, because everything's just about level, we should come off pretty quickly, or we should get rid of all this pen in just a few strokes, and if we do, we can move over to the 400 grit side. Let's just brush A levelling beam is one of them over here. So we've got a bit of pen there, it means we've got one high fret lurking about somewhere. Just going to keep going till all the pen is gone. Be careful not to remove too much from one side and not enough from the other. I can tell by the thickness of the lines on top of the frets. Right, that is looking good. So let's just check again. Thinking we're just about level now. Lacquer, and it doesn't hurt to check the lot again. Very, very good. Now we've gone over with a 240 grit and everything's level. We're going to finish off with a 400 grit, which is going to remove some of those deeper scratches, make it easier to polish them up. And once that's done, I can get the fingerboard taped up, just leave the frets exposed, and we can move on to the recrowning and polishing stage. They are level. Told you, leveling frets is easy, don't take long at all. It's just the rest of the work that takes the time. Again, permanent marker, so I can't cheat. By cheat, I mean, if I use non-permanent marker, I could just rub it off with my thumb if it was a high one. Why would I do that? You know, people are paying me to level the frets, and level the frets. We do. Don't expect to make some money from working frets. Leveling frets takes you 4 hours. We set up 5 hours. I charge 120 quid for that. I believe that's 24 quid an hour, is it? It's not a lot of money. For regular work, I charge 35 an hour. I can do a intensive setup 80 quid in 2 hours. That's 40 quid an hour, that's double. So I'd rather be doing setups and fret levels, but it just happens that I do more fret levels than anything else. So, you know, I don't do it for money, I do it because I love it. Also, I'm back at Royal Mail this week. We're now on Monday the 29th of March, year of our Lord 2021. I'm back at Royal Mail on the 1st of April, so we're not being here half as much. Anyway, let's crack on. This should all pen should come off really quickly. And that is all of the pen gone. A little bit there. That is all of the pen gone. So the frets are now level. Just going to brush everything off. Didn't take long, did it? All you got to do is make sure your neck's straight. Don't go leveling frets if your neck ain't straight. Ain't going to work. So one last time, we're just going to check the frets again. Take it a little bit slower. Here's my DHL parcel. So give me a second. The guy can come anytime. There it is, that's a parcel I've been waiting for. Cost me 6 quid to get here. Never mind, it's done now. That's the control plate for this same guitar. So, can take us time now. Shalom, relax, calm down. So now I can take my time and check that these frets are level. I know they're level. How do I know? Oh, because I know how good I am, obviously. Beautiful job. I will leave the neck on the jig. What I'm going to do is when I restring this, I'm going to restring it with the truss rod loose and see where the strings take the neck. a little bit upset that I have to turn the truss rod so much the wrong way to get the neck straight. That doesn't bode well, and it will be a negative point I'm going to bring up on the video when I come to the conclusion. You know, is it worth it? Well, it's only worth it if the neck does what it's supposed to do. You know what I'm all about? I'm all about straight necks and level frets. That's why we're fret friend. That's why I'm fret friend. But anyway, those frets are level. And move on to the next part of the job, which will be to recrown them. Now I can't recrown them as they are because my file will be slipping, it'll be breaking into the lacquer and making a mess of everything. We ain't going to do that. We're going to tape up the whole fingerboard, just leave the frets exposed, then we can come and where we've levelled the frets that way. So if you imagine in that direction where they were once crowned and rounded on the top, they're now flat, and we're going to rebuild that crown that way. And that's good because the scratches are this way. When we crown them that way with the file, we're going to remove all the scratches at the same time. And once that's done, we're going to recrown. We're going to go and polish them. So we're going to crack on and recrown these frets. Quite simple to do nowadays. In the old days, we'd have been using a 3-cornered file. That's basically an equilateral triangle shaped file, and we'd grind each corner safe, and we'd just basically roll the file across and bring it over on the far side. And on the near side, we'd roll it over that way and we'd rebuild that crown. And it's why we cover the fingerboard so we don't roll into that or scratch anything up, scratch the wood. But we don't have to do that anymore. Got a Stumac Z file. Furthest away from use a long cut, closest to use a shortcut. The shortcut's steep, the long cut's narrow. Flip it 180 degrees, exact opposite. Steep shortcut and a slight slope long cut. And this is magic in as much as, well, one, it's a diamond file, so it will really cut into the metal, but it will not touch the top of the fret. And so it will cut different on each side, but do both ways. And it'll cut both sides with 2 different cuts. We can rebuild that crown for you. And it's left a nice thin black line down the top. And where the fret was flat, it's now got a crown going that way. And a nice thin black line down the middle. And once we get to there, we're looking for about probably a half a mil, bit under half a mil on that black line. So we'll just go again. It's a bit thick there. And that's going to be a contact point of a string on top of the fret. And instead of hitting a flat fret now, creating buzz, it's going to hit just the top of a crown fret. But once we've done that with that file, we go to a crowning file. Same sort of thing, but this has not got any cuts, it's just got a groove in there, a U-shaped groove, concave, like that. And this again, we'll just remove any burrs, any unevenness, and it'll give you that perfect crown. And that's it. That's one done. And this one you can go in at an angle, you can do the edges as well, just to shape that top a little bit better. And that's it. That's one done. We know we've not removed any height from there because we've still got black pen on the top. So all we do is move on to the next one. Don't even have to check the height of these frets because I know we've not lowered. We don't want to be hitting the tops. Move on to the next one. And there you go, same again. Take me a while to do all these. I don't mind this part of the job at all. So the polishing that gets on your wick. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful job. Again, this one, always give the file a wipe, remove any clag in there. And there you go. That's 2 done. I've got, what have we got? 21. I've got another 19 to do, so I'm going to crack on, get them done. Once they're done, I'll bring you back in and we'll crack on with the polishing. Dipped on a little bit with this guitar. Still got the fret polishing to do. Probably that off a bit because it's boring. I have covered the pick guard in copper foil shielding. This is the stuff. The actual stickiness of it is not shielded, so I have to solder each piece together, which I've done, and that's fantastic. That's going to make the complete Faraday cage for everything. I painted all of the cavities there, and I overpainted, so I've got paint there, and that will make a contact with the copper. This will make a contact with the paint on that side, so everything is going to be all the shielding works. I've tested it all with a multimeter, and everything works, and that is more or less ready to be done. I'm just going to put the pickup back on here, and the reason I took it out is because we're going with a 4-way wiring. You've got more wires on this. You've got 3 anyway because it's a stacked single coil. But an earth wire, the earth for the pickup, you normally bridge it to the case itself, but because we're going with a 4-way, we have to put a separate earth on the case. So I've snipped that bridge, removed that completely, and this is an extra wire. And you've got the earth of the pickup is that one, and the earth of the cover is that one. This will go to the back of the pot. This will go, now that'll go to the back of the pot. That will go on the 4-way switch. So that's how it goes. So I'm going to bang this back in the pick guard. I'll get the pick guard on. Once it's on, I'm going to feed all the wires through. Then we're going to come and we're going to go and install this. Now I've already put it on the new plate. The new plate arrived this morning. You saw it, DHL. Everything's on there. All super neat. A nice big fat orange drop capacitor in there. Everything is super neat. We've got lovely solder joints here. We've got a 4-way Oak Grigsby switch. So we're going to have all the normal switching, and I'll explain it to you. That's your normal 1 position. I think we call it 4 online. We go 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't 1, 2, 3, 4. First position, bridge on its own. Second position, bridge and neck. Third position, bridge and neck into, just neck, sorry. Let's go again. Bridge on its own, bridge and neck in series, neck on its own. This one, bridge and neck in parallel. Basically that makes the bridge and the neck one big fat humbucker. Then we have the options, exactly same options, but we can have the coils on low mode. So low coil, or we can double it, because they are split coils. The push or the push is to split the coil. So it's basically like tapping a small pickup, except these are heavy duty. I think the bridge is something like 16 ohms. The neck is 12 ohms. And when we split, we've got a 8 ohm bridge and a 6 ohm neck, just like a regular Telecaster. So we get beefy output or regular Telecaster output. So everything's just about ready to wire up on that. I've got a great diagram here sent to me by IND because I couldn't find one online. They sent me a diagram. All I've done is I've swapped. This has got the push-pull on the volume. I've moved it over to the tone. So all you do is do that wiring exactly the same, then wiring at the bottom exactly the same. Bar, I've not put the capacitor on there. I've put the capacitor from a centre lug there over to the earth on the volume, and I've got a connecting wire from lug 3 on there to lug 1 on the volume. Just have to twiddle it around a bit, just change things around. It will work. I've used an amalgamation of this diagram and another Telecaster diagram. So I'm pretty confident that's going to be absolutely bang on. And all I've got to do really is get it together. But first thing I'm going to do is put this back on the pick guard. With everything now shielded, we're going to have some fun. So I'm going to crack on and get this done. I don't want to go with springs. I'm going to go with a rubber tubing on this. But anyway, I'm going to crack on. Once it's all done, ready to wire up, I'll come back, we'll get that in, and we'll move on to polishing the frets, and all being well, we might get this done today. Okay, I can't procrastinate any longer. One of the most boring jobs in existence, and it's polishing the frets. And I have 6 different grits of sandpaper going through 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000. That's for polishing. I'm going to go with some 400 grit just to get the deeper scratches out and the pen off. So this is just a matter of going this way with the 400 grit, and this will work, and this will basically get right into the deep scratches, remove most of them, make it easier to polish with the other grits in a bit. Now this 400 grit is quite coarse paper. It's much thicker paper, so it does a lot more sanding than the other grits, because the other grits are thinner paper. And this is doing a fantastic job of removing the pen and removing those deep scratches. So once I've gone through with all of this, I'll go through these 6 grits, and we'll remove all the scratches completely and bring these frets to a nice shine, and they'll be done. But this takes a while. Like I said, I put this off today. if I have a real good crack at it, take me about hour and 15, hour and a half, hour 15 minutes, hour and a half. Does make your arms ache. You'd have thought, the amount of times I've done this, my arms won't ache anymore, but they do. Always wear a glove for this, because this there's aluminium oxide in this paper. That's poisonous. My dad died of aluminium poisoning. They say it was cancer, but he polished aluminium all his life. He used to come on black from aluminium, and obviously back then in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and that, we didn't know how poisonous or how horrible it was. It killed him. He died at 59, absolutely riddled with cancer. God bless him. Horrible thing to see. Never got any compensation for that, because back in the days when, you know, you did your job. If you went down pit, you went down pit. If you died, you died. Horrible. But anyway, I'm going to crack on with these. It's going to take me a while, a couple of hours in this. I'll come back with arms like Popeye when I've done. And I'm going to crack on, get it done, and oh, by the way, I meant to mention, when I do my final polishing, I'll be doing it with some extra fine steel wool. It'll bring it, it'll be scratch free. They'll be just a little bit dull till I get the steel wool on there. We'll bring them up to a beautiful glass-like shine. And that will be done. We'll stick the nut back in and we'll be ready to put that back on the guitar. I'm not faffed about polishing these frets. I've been through with the 7 grits of paper. 1 to remove the scratches, the other 6 to polish the frets up. And I'm just going to finish off with extra fine steel wool, and this will bring the shine right out. And I just take it, pinch it over the fret. We get the top and the sides all in one go, and this brings them up just absolutely stunning. Doesn't take a lot of work because we've already gone polish now. I'm always glad when this part of the job is out of the way, because it takes a while. I'm going to need some more steel wool in a minute. But yeah, it takes a while to do this, but it's worth it, so worth it. It's a job we always do after a refret as well. No matter what anyone says, you never press frets in perfectly level. I've never done it, and I don't know how many refrets I've done, to loads of them. I've never got them in level. But yeah, very, very satisfying part of the job, this. I think it's the most boring of all the jobs I have to do, and I do a lot of this fret leveling. So you've got to love your job to do this every day. Oh, I might just have enough steel wool here. They look stunning. You can't really see from the way the camera's set. Take my word for it. Just a few more to do. Last one, just got enough, look. Far side, near side, over the top. And trust me guys, I can tell those frets are stunning. I do have a eyeglass somewhere, there you go. Yeah, they are so beautiful. I don't know if you're going to see from there. Absolutely fantastic. So the best part this job one is getting my glove off, because my hand is sweating inside. I only normally cover these 2 fingers because they want to polish with, but yeah, I took a big chunk out of this finger last night. I don't know how I did it, and I've had to keep it covered. Don't want to be getting any nastiness in there. I've got no sticking plaster either, so I've got to take care. But anyway, there we go, and this is the best part of the job, is peeling off the tape and seeing the results of your labour. And that's very unfortunate because it's peeled off lacquer. Nothing I can do about that. That just shows, I'll let the owner know. Yeah, couldn't have foresaw that happening, and that again is down to the quality of the build. We may have to get in touch with. That is really, really bad. That is such a shame. So let me just get this peeled off, and I'll let the owner know. I'll show you in a minute. Well, what a sad state of affairs after all of that hard work and all the good work, and it could have been foreseen. And what's happened is peeling the tape off after doing the fret level, recrowning and the polishing, all the lacquer, not all of it, but a lot of the lacquer has come away with the tape. Now the tape I use low tack masking tape. Always used it, always used the same brand, many years. And this is, it's a Harley Benton problem. It looks as if they've just flashed over with lacquer all over the neck, then over the top, but there's nothing on the edge here at all. And I can just try and show you that. And it's just peeled away. It's not even soaked into the wood. So it's my guess that this is dried too quickly. It's probably been dried in a warm room and it's not taken to the wood. It's all come off. So what options do we have? Well, Darren, the owner of the guitar, has been absolutely brilliant about it. He says, look, I know it's not your fault. You could not foresee that happening. Absolutely correct, by the way. Says, right, options going forward. What we're going to do, what he's doing right now is contacting Toman, telling them this has happened. He sent the guitar in for a fret level. I mean, it shouldn't have needed fret leveling anyway. But anyway, so he's going to say, look, what are you going to do? He says, because I can't have it like that. I've suggested, I don't do anything at the moment, wait to see what they're going to say. He says, no, I suggested to him before that though, I did say, what I could do is I could take some boiled linseed oil, seal these white bits, and when the oil's dried, go over it with some CA glue, super thin CA glue, and seal it in. And that's going to bring the colour, not the same, but it will stop the wood being bare. And it'll hold this lacquer that's flaking, it'll give it something to adhere to as well. And that will be a decent fix. And he's said to me, he says, just do that. I'm absolutely fine with that. He says, that is actually a really good idea. Now, he's agreed that he's going to pay me what he was going to pay me anyway for the job. And I'm sure he'd want to pay me for doing the lacquering and the super gluing. I'm not going to charge him for that. That's something I'm going to do free. Just because this has happened, not because of any guilt on my part or anything. Obviously this could not have been foreseen, but I can't let him take the neck back looking like that. You know, so I'm going to do what I can do. Get some oil in there. And I've got some really thin CA glue, but this lacquer is not even stuck to the wood. It's like a jacket more than a skin. You get what I'm saying? A skin is attached to your bones and your sinews and your muscles. This isn't, it's just like an overcoat. So very, very sad state of affairs, but I'm going to carry on with the guitar. I would have got this finished today. I've just got the electrics to solder in and that would have been it. And I'd have been pleased as punch. All these are ready. All I've got to do is take that control cavity off, the new one by the way, and solder all the wires in. And I was going to put it together tonight, get it ready for him and he could pick it up tomorrow. That's not going to happen now, because I'm going to get some oil in here overnight and seal it with super glue tomorrow. So that's held me back a little bit as well. I'm not working Wednesday. I'm going back to work Thursday, Royal Mail. I'll not be working Wednesday, or I have a few odd jobs I must do. And I will be getting the workshop cleaned up and ready for, I'll be back in here part-time. I'll be working 4 or 5 hours a day, tops. Some days I won't be working at all because obviously the backlog we've got at Royal Mail. But that's another story for another day. So, yeah, very sad. Couldn't have avoided that though. So, you know, I'm going to crack on. We're going to make the best of a bad job. It's Harley Benton. They're good guitars. They're decent guitars. They're cheap, but they're going to cut corners somewhere, and it appears they cut corners on the lacquering of this one in particular. I'm not saying they're all like this. It just happens that you're going to get this with a £130 guitar with a £25 bridge on it and blah, 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 what have you. So, yeah, just sad, but we motor on, we carry on, and we'll make the most of a bad job. We'll make the best of it, and we'll still make it a good guitar. Morning friends, so I did a little test run this morning. I've decided not to stain the wood. I'm going to leave it as is because it shows basically where the guitar's at, and it shows a history. And I've already sealed, I've sealed one part, just this part here, and it's not darkened, it's not gone the same colour as the old, but it is sealed. And I'm not going to darken it, I'm not going to stain it. I'm certainly not going to use any oil because it might react with the super glue itself. But look here, that's just come away completely from the wood. It never actually, it's almost like it went on dry. You know, it's like the wetness of it never got a chance to soak into the wood before it dried. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some super glue and I'm just going to try and let it soak into the wood and seep slightly under the lacquer there. I have no other choice. And it's the only way I'm going to say. I'm not going to flatten it, I'm not going to sand it or anything, because that will just remove all the polish and that. But you know, sad state of affairs, but what else can I do? The only other option would be to strip the neck, remove the frets, sand it all back and oil it, rather than have it sprayed in lacquer. Or I don't know. So something you really need to be aware of when you buy these guitars. They may look fantastic, but when you come to fret leveling and taping up the fingerboard and pulling the tape off and all the lacquer comes off, what you really saved. £130 guitar. The guy has already spent, with me, he's spent £300 on it. That's a complete fret level, a setup, all the electrics upgraded, brand new pickups, everything all insulated, not insulated, what's the word I'm looking for? Shielded, all the shielding done. And you know, is it really worth it? If I had to now refret this and sand it back, it's going to be another 300 quid. That's £600. That's the 700. That's £130 guitar becomes £700. Just go and buy a £500 brilliant guitar. I'm not slagging Harley Benton off. It's not something I'd do myself. I wouldn't go out and buy a Harley Benton and do it up. I'd go out and buy a Squire and do it up, like I did with my Classic Vibe, brilliant guitar. But no, I'm not with a Harley Benton, not with Chibsons, not with anything. It's just, to me, you can get a much better guitar for 350 quid. You might need a fret level, like with my Classic Vibe. My Classic Vibe Telecaster, Squire Classic Vibe Telecaster, is a brilliant guitar. Okay, I've had to do a fret level on it, but that's all I've had to do. The pickups are fine, the guitar's fine, it's had a fret level. So in effect, if I was charging you for a fret level and a setup, the £120 on top of the 339 makes you 459. You're getting a brilliant Fender Beta guitar. So you weigh it up. You know, all I can do is work with what's in front of me. When something like this happens, it's a very sad state of affairs. But again, this is costing me half a day now. That's half a day. I should be earning money on another guitar this morning. This is going to take me till lunchtime to finish now. It should have been finished yesterday. So I've lost half a day. Half a day, 4 hours. What could I earn in 4 hours? You know, I'm not charging for sorting this out, which is, you know, I don't mind doing that at all. It's just think on. Think on. I'll show you what I'm doing here. All I'm doing is dropping a little blob of super glue into areas and spreading it with this. This is basically my soldering probe. And I've got a small tip on my super glue, and it's just a matter of just taking a small drop, not too much, and just spreading it over. It will find its own level. I'm just going to let it dry naturally. It will seep slightly under the lacquer. Hopefully it won't flake. If I do a bit too much super glue on there, I'll just take a cloth and just let it draw up the excess like that. So all you need to do is just dab it on. And I can't do anything other than this. And you are going to see it if you look really close. from a distance you're not going to see anything. And it's just going to seal everything, stop any more lacquer flaking off. And I can't do any more than that. I'm going to let it dry naturally. So it's something I'm going to have to come back to. But that's looking like I've got all this side done. We're not using too much glue, which is a good thing. And it's the best I can really do. Ideally frets out, sand it all back. But you know, there's got to be a cost involved with that. This is the biggest part here, so I'm hoping we can get some underneath this lacquer here. I'm basically going to draw it's almost like colouring in. And it's working quite well. You're certainly not going to feel it when you're playing. I talked with Danny from Let's Just Show You Viewers, good friend, and he suggested he just says, mate, I just super glue it, just seal it. I'm going to mix in glue and oil, which is absolutely right. On the bright side, frets are bang on. They're fantastic, level, shiny, recrowned, polished. So, it's really the best I could do. Not an ideal situation, but what more could be done? So the glue is dried in a few areas. I'm going to leave that. You know, not an ideal situation, but end of the day, maybe he'll get compensated. Maybe he'll get his money back from Toman, Harley Benton. I don't know. But at least it's sealed now, and move on to get the electrics done. So here we go, guys, with the all new electrics. Got a new control plate, all new electrics, new Oak Grigsby 4-way switch, everything soldered in. Got a pull push pot for tapping into the coils. Everything all nice and neat in there, but quite congested. A lot of wires in there, but plenty of room. New pickups. These are Iron Gear Steel Twin 2. Well, it's a Steel Twin 2 set. So you've got a new control plate, new pots, new capacitors, new switch, new pickups. I've also painted all the cavities inside with conductive paint. I've lined the scratch plate with shielding copper tape. So everything should be pretty good in there. I've had it plugged in, tested everything, everything's working fine. I don't know how it sounds, but I know how it's working. Or I know that it's all working. I like this new control plate. Seems just to be much better quality than the original one. So, neck lacquer aside, a very good project. Quite a lot of money spent on it. It does look the part. Let's just grab some leather just to clean everything up. And I'm just going to tap the pickups, make sure everything's working alright, and I'll explain how things work. If I remember myself. Let me just grab a 4-way wiring diagram and I'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Because sometimes I get my parallels in this series mixed up. So, there you go. Okay, let's turn the amp on. It's on standby anyway. So normal position 1 should just be the bridge pickup, which it is. Just get a flat. Volume up. I don't know why that stopped then. What's that stop? Check the wiring again. I might have a cold joint somewhere. Position 2 is just. It's both pickups. Position 3 is just the neck. Position 4 is both of these in series, so it makes a big humbucker. So there you go, everything's working. Volume, we'll try the volume. Tone. So we've got everything working, cracking on. Guitar's tuned to pitch. I've not checked everything on the setup yet. I normally do a setup before I take the old strings off, so I'm just going to check how everything is so far. The action above the 12 fret is pretty okay. Nut slots still need to be cut. I'm just going to check the radius at the bridge. And I'll be honest, I'm not happy with this. It's not that I'm not happy with my work, it's just, you know, it's when you're doing work for someone and it doesn't come out how you expect, or you have something like this happens, not happy about it, and you don't really want to charge full whack, but you've got to, you're running a business. So anyway, I've messaged Darren and let him know he knew what he owed anyway, and he's come back to me and he says, no, he says, I owe you more than that, you've worked on it. He said, I have lost today, by the way. It's getting on for 2 o'clock and I've lost today. I've spent all the time on this, off and on. I should have been working on another guitar today, getting that done. That's going to have to be done. I'll have to do that Thursday and Friday now. But I says, no, don't worry about it. I says, well, we both lose out here. I says, but he has, he sent me some extra money, and I didn't ask for it. So, thanks for that. Anyway, we're just going to that looks pretty good. So we look pretty much right there. That's a little bit low. That was pretty good. We've got a couple of nut slots yet, so I'm just checking everything. Only got a small amount of relief in this. The neck is bent the wrong way, so I've had to alter the truss rod. I'll cover all the negatives on this guitar, and the negatives are all to do with the neck and the lacquer. I'm not going to recommend this guitar to anyone. Might look the part, but so there we go. So everything is set right. I've got the right amount of relief in the neck. I've got the action a bit higher than it needs to be at the 12th fret. We have got the radius set on the saddles. Just going to check the intonation. A little bit sharp on the E. So everything's just a little bit sharp. We're just going to grab a screwdriver, loosen everything. Because we're a little bit short, we need to lengthen the string. So we're just going to move the saddle to the right. If we're sharp at 12th fret, we'll move the saddle to the right as we look at it this way. If it's that's right, it's 5 letters, sharp, it's 5 letters. If it's flat, we'll move the saddle left. Flat and left are 4 letters. So just a little bit sharp on the fretted A. Just going to move it back a little bit more. That's good. A little bit sharp on the D and the G. So a little bit sharp, especially on the D. Very good. Sharp on both. Lengthen again. Try there. little bit sharp on the E, okay on the B. We'll give it just another half turn. That's going to do there. And there you go, we are in tune, the intonation set, we've got the radius set. Let's check the radius one more time. Oh, hang on. Oh, we had 12-inch radius and I've set it for 9.5. Thought it was a bit high in the middle. Let me just test a 12. I think we're a 12-inch radius. So I made a mistake there. Okay, and it's still not too bad. Check down here. Go low somewhere. Take everything higher than it needs to be. And we can drop everything else onto the radius gauge. That looks better. And that was pretty good. Just need to nip to the loo, back in a minute. Welcome back to The Guitar is the Store. A bit of irony there for you. Okay, so I've been playing the guitar, I've had it plugged in, it plays really well, sounds really good, pickups are really nice, and we're going to go and cut the nut slots. So last thing the setup's done, we've got the radius right on the bridge, we've got the action right at the 12th fret, right amount of relief in the neck just, and now the last thing we're going to do is cut the nut slots. So I'll be looking for measurements here, and the space between the top of the fret and the bottom of the string. On this side I'll be looking about 0.3mm, and on the far side about 0.2. I can go lower, but they are good standard sizes where you can play and bar chords and you're not going to play sharp notes. So let's check with 0.3 at this end, and what we're going to do is we're going to match the string slots with the file. Now we've got 48 here, closest we're going to have to a 48 is going to be a 50, so that's going to be perfect. So let's try and match the strings, because we've got a 1148 set here. Now 50 will be down this end, here's a 50. And we're going to go with a 38. What was the closest we got to a 38? I think it's going to be a 42. This is a 42. Then we've got a 28. We do have a 28. Well, it's always okay to go slightly over. We have 28. Then on the higher strings we've got an 11. Closest we've got to an 11 is a 10 or a 13. I'm going to go with a 13. Then we've got a 14. The closest to that is a 16. And then we've got an 18, 13, 16, we don't have an 18, the closest we've got to an 18 is 24, that's too much. So we're going to go with the 16 again, and we're going to slightly angle. I could go with 24, let's see where we are. So this side, it's 48, we're going to go with a 50, we're really quite high on that side. Taking the file. Cloth, got a cloth there. Files are clean anyway, but we're just going to go, and we're not going to cut too deep. We're just going to cut the slot nice and even, make sure we're wide enough, and we're just going to angle slightly back to the tuner there. Don't need to remove a great amount of material. We're just making these files, by the way, they cut a perfect half circle. Made by Hosco in Japan. They're not cheap. I think they cost me about 125 quid for a set of 11. we always know we've cut because we know it goes flatter. But we've still got more to go. Always clean your file, just a few strokes. If you go too deep, you're replacing the knot. And that takes time and costs. It costs you time and money. And that should be about right. Let's have a feel. Just buzzing, that's good. So the next one, really quite high, that one. Clean the file, put it away. Move on to the next string, which will be a 38. Closest we've got to a 38 is a 42. So we're going to go with the 42. Could go with 36. Let's try a 36 and let's do what I'd normally do in this case. You don't need to go with 42, it's probably a bit too much. What I do in this case is I go with a 36. We know it's a 38, but I'm going to get the depth with a 36, and what we're going to do is we're going to slightly angle up like that, and that'll give us that little extra one for the 38. Angle back. Let's have a look. As long as the string sits in there. Still way high. Angle, angle again. Don't go too far, you're replacing the knot. Oh, getting close now. So a little bit steadier with the file now. Just buzz in, we can go a little bit lower. I want that to be about 2.7 mil. So a little bit high. Perfect. Now we're going to flip over to the 0.25 mil for the two middle strings. And you get the idea, until we get down to 0.2 on the far side. So I'm going to carry on and do this. And once this is done, we've got everything stretched in, the guitar will be ready to go. And here we are, guys, we are all done. And disappointments aside, it is a fantastic looking guitar. It plays really well. It sounds really nice, these pickups are really, really good. And let's recap what we've done. So, came in, we wanted all the electrics upgrading, which we've done. We've got a CTS standard pot on the volume, we've got a pull push pot on the tone. The pull push splits, it doesn't really split. These are more or less it's like a stacked single coil. Unstacked it's 8K, 6K, stacked it's 16K, 11K, 12K. So that does make a difference. It's really, really beefy. The neck, nice chunky neck, but we did have the problem with all the lacquer falling off when I pulled the tape off. That aside, we're not going to mention that again. Leveled the frets, reprofiled the frets, polished the frets. I've also painted all the cavities with shielding paint or conductive paint. I've foiled or copper taped the back of the pick guard, so I have a nice Faraday cage all round. Complete new wiring and brand new iron gear steel twin 2 pickups. So many upgrades. Weight's fantastic and a really nice guitar, bar the problems with the lacquer. And one other thing to mention, and another reason why I'm not recommending buying this guitar, is I've had to turn the truss rod anti-clockwise 1 full turn to get the neck straight enough to play. I do have a little bit of relief in there, a little bit less than I normally would have, but that aside, it's pretty good. It sounds nice. One other thing to mention, 4-way switching. We have regular bridge pickup, bridge and neck, regular, neck pickup alone. Then we have bridge and neck in parallel, which makes this into a wide humbucker. With that pulled out, we've got a wide fat humbucker. So great tonal options on there as well, but that is it. Like I say, I mentioned the disappointments. One other thing I've done, obviously giving it a setup, 5 of the nut slots down, so we've got nice low action above the first fret. Action is nice and low, plays really well. Good thing about this, it's a flatter radius, it's a 12-inch radius, so it plays really nicely. But that is it. Harley Benton TE-70 Deluxe series guitar. I think they're about 130 quid. If you're going to go with all these upgrades, my recommendation is go buy something better. Buy this for the body. That's it. If your neck comes good and your lacquer doesn't fall off, use the neck by all means. But if you're buying this guitar, buy it for the body only. That's what I'm saying. Or if you're going to buy it, strip the neck. Then again, your lacquer might be okay. But that's it. I don't want to keep whining about it, so I'm going to wrap this video up now. So I'm going to move on to the next project. Before I do, I'm going to mention my website, facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. I am Victor. I am your fret friend. Oh, reminder again, fretfriend.co.uk. Forgot about that. But yes, I am Victor. I am your fret friend. Until the next one, as always, God bless you. Be good to each other. I'll see you in the next one.